It is extremely rare, almost unheard of, that the president of Russia appears in full military uniform right before the end of the year, addresses his generals, speaks directly to his armed forces, and then delivers a message that shakes not just Europe, not just Ukraine, but the entire world. And this is exactly what Vladimir Putin has done. When Putin appeared wearing a military uniform, one thing became very clear. Every word in his speech carried weight, but one message stood heavier than all the rest. After this, understand one thing clearly. A decisive phase has begun. Putin openly stated that this was his final warning to Ukraine. He said, if this conflict is not ended through peace, then Russia will achieve every single objective through military power. He made it very clear that Russia will use its armed forces and strategic strength to accomplish all goals currently on the table. On the surface, these words may sound simple, but in reality, this is the language of global-scale escalation. This so-called peace offer, delivered while wearing a military uniform, carried a very blunt message. If peace is not chosen, then leadership, command structures, and strategic centers will not remain untouched. Putin's message was crystal clear. Russia's objective is no longer limited. The goal now is full control over Ukraine, followed by reclaiming regions that once belonged to the Soviet sphere. He openly hinted that Russia's strategic deterrent systems are fully prepared. The recent long-range deployments near European borders? According to him, that was only a demonstration, not the main event. The world has been thrown into uncertainty because this was not a routine speech. This was a full-scale warning. What we have seen so far in this conflict, according to Russian leadership, that was nothing compared to what could follow. Western nations froze Russian assets, seized funds, and tried to economically corner Moscow. Russia responded by restructuring its economy for a long-term confrontation, extracting resources sufficient to sustain pressure for decades. At the moment Putin addressed his generals, Russian forces had already advanced further on the ground. Military commanders reportedly assured him, "Do not worry, we are close to achieving full operational control." Around 20–25% of Ukrainian territory is now under Russian influence, and momentum continues. Ukraine has suffered massive losses. Morale has weakened. Many units are retreating. The situation resembles what the world once witnessed in Afghanistan, when resistance collapsed not due to lack of weapons, but due to loss of will. That is why even after Christmas, Russian strikes continued intense and calculated. Initially, Russia's demand was simple. Ukraine should not join NATO. But now the strategy has shifted. The new demand is political restructuring. Russia no longer recognizes the legitimacy of the current Ukrainian leadership. Putin's stance is firm. Let the people decide. Hold elections. Let a real representative come forward. According to Russian claims, transparent elections were held today. The current Ukrainian president would struggle to gain public support because people are exhausted, displaced, and grieving. Millions have suffered. The country's economy has been shattered. If at the very beginning, Ukraine had declared neutrality, none of this would have happened. No territorial loss, no destruction, no global danger. Today, Ukraine has lost territory, resources, and stability, and the risk level has escalated dramatically. Large numbers of Ukrainian civilians fled to Europe. Many reports highlighted the humanitarian struggles they faced abroad, a tragic outcome of prolonged conflict. So the question is, who is responsible for this devastation? According to this perspective, it is not one man alone. Behind him stand powerful global interests. Now Europe faces a critical decision. Time is running out. When you are dealing with a nation that possesses thousands of strategic deterrent systems, you must understand one thing clearly. Such a nation will not quietly accept collapse. Speculation about removing leadership or forcing submission ignores reality. Russia's defense systems are designed to function even in worst-case scenarios. This is not a bluff, it is strategic doctrine. Meanwhile, Russia has secured territories rich in land and natural resources assets sufficient to sustain pressure for generations. Inside Russia, policies have shifted toward population growth, economic relief, and family incentives signaling preparation for long-term endurance. Women are being offered support to focus on families. Debt relief and child benefits are being expanded. This is not temporary planning, this is future strategy. And now Russia has announced that if China moves on Taiwan, Russia will stand with China. This confirms one thing. The world is no longer dealing with isolated conflicts. We are entering an era of aligned power blocks. Putin has made his position final. He will not negotiate with the current Ukrainian leadership. Sanctions have already been absorbed. His demand is simple. Bring a legitimate leadership to the table or face full territorial consequences. If negotiations happen now, Ukraine may still retain a significant portion of its land. But if this path continues, more territory will be lost. And once control is established, it will not be reversed. This is the moment for realism. 4 years ago, this could have been avoided. Even today, damage control is possible. But delay will only ensure that nothing remains to negotiate over. Putin's generals have assured him, if you decide, we will deliver. And after Ukraine, the map does not end there. Europe must understand what is at stake. Because once escalation crosses a certain point, there is no rewind button. This is Truth Uncovered. Don't forget to follow, like, share, and tell us your opinion in the comments.